Yeah, it's so humbling, and you know, like you say, it's a little kid from Crafton ends up going to Canton on his way through Pittsburgh.
Hard work and determination are two characteristics that former Steelers head coach Bill Cowher personifies.
You playing smart, you playing fast, and you playing physical.
Being raised a stone's throw from Three River Stadium in Crafton, Pennsylvania, fueled what began as only a dream.
The bottom line is you finished on top.
That once realized earned him a gold jacket. In the lead-up to his induction into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, I had the opportunity to catch up with Coach Cowher to reflect on all the people
He was unstoppable.
that helped him along his path.
Let's play. I know you can hear me. That's what I'm talking about right now. Oh.
Sounds like football to me.
On the road from Crafton to Canton.
You know, school was right here. We practiced right here, coming down that ramp that we will see. I was on the track team, and
Track team.
I was on the track team.
Man, well-rounded
And,
athlete.
Yeah, I played basketball. I was on the track team. Actually threw the shot put.
Jeez.
And the shot put is on the field. It's right over here. And then the rest of the runners were over there. And so, yeah, we'd come down this hill. I always remember walking down that hill thinking, oh, you're looking around and just wondering what kind of day it's going to be. Hot, after school, we're practicing. And you could hear the cars in the background, the parkway. This kind of made you realize where you were. Just playing football on the field off the parkway.
You practiced here, but you didn't play here, though,
Did
right?
not play here. We played down at Hannes Wagner Field in Carnegie, and which is really funny because most of the practices we had, Coach Zaney, Coach Yost, used to pull us up here. And we didn't have many players either. We only had about, my senior year, I think we had 23 guys on the team. And when we went from offense to defense, my brother came in. 10 of us played both ways. So it was, but we were a close team. I always will say, you know, I never realized the camaraderie in having people that you like and who are your friends, who you hang out with, and you translate that friendship onto the field, and all of a sudden in the fourth quarter of a game, you're looking at the same guy. It's a brotherhood. You know, I'm there for you. You okay? You help your own guy back up. And so it's just about inspiring the guys around you because I love you, because we're brothers in this thing together. And that started here, just a special place. There used to be a parking lot over there, and actually I came up here and my father taught me how to drive in that parking lot. So we'd drive past the school and down to the parking lot, and you know, taught me everything from that standpoint. Then I'd drive back and I'd have to stop because then you have to get back in the car. And so it was, I learned how to drive here, I learned to play football here, practiced here, and went to school right up there. You know, my dad loved baseball. I loved basketball. I became much more passionate about football, but not early on.
Okay.
You know, and I loved to play basketball because you could just go down to a gym that was in Ingram or go down to an outside court. And we did. I had some friends, that's all we did was play a lot of basketball. And, you know, football was something, okay, in the fall we'll do that. But football's not, you know, and we play pickup games, but it wasn't anything to that extent. And all of a sudden you realize you start going, number one, you're not fast, you can't jump, okay? So then all of a sudden you get into football and you say, wow, you know, on this field right here, you know, I love this. I can get mad and express myself. I can just show my emotion, be passionate about something. When I walk off this field, it's another element. There's a responsibility, you know, to my parents and have to be a student. But on this field, to me, when I come down here, you know, I walk between the lines. It was like, I love this territory. You know, and it's just about the passion and the great coaches I had, even in high school. Like I said, Bill Yost. He spent a lot of time with me, tried to teach me how to long snap. I long snapped my senior year, last couple of years. And yeah, it started here.
You always mention your coaches. I've noticed that about you.
Yeah.
I mean, you remember them by name.
Yeah.
You remember all the things that led up to it. Why
Yeah.
is that?
Well, that coaches and teachers, because they are the ones that kind of guide you.
Yeah.
They're the ones that teach you. I mean, and like you listen to them, and you do things for them. I think one of the guys I remember the most was Mr. Jones, who was a math teacher. And I took calculus my senior year, and that's the one thing I was just really good at was with numbers. And because he was a great teacher, he'd be on that chalkboard, and you'd think he was like in there, okay, if you do this, and then you get down here with the coaches, it's like they're pushing you. Let's go, come on, Cowher, you're better than that. You're right, Coach, I am. You're right. Call me out. That's good. It's like I said, when they quit calling you, it's quit talking to you. That's when it's time to think maybe they don't care about you. It's like, teachers, some people are very good visually. Some people you can just talk to, communicate with, and they get it. So having to find some people like, that's a great job. They need a pat in the back because they're not really self-confident. Other people are way too too confident, probably overconfident. So now you gotta make sure that they don't get too complacent. So it's like the fine line of complacency and, insecurity that you're trying to kind of keep that balance in there. And it's the same thing with coaching, but it's the same thing with teaching as well. The same thing with parenting. So all these things are intertwined in my mind.
The other thing you seem to mention a lot is just the memories here of your dad and your mother and the role they play in your lives. And I know teachers are important, but man, parents, when you look back, and when you become one, I think you realize how important parenting is.
Yeah, and listen, my father was a worker, but my mom, I don't know how many times I would leave this field and it's going to be 6:30. We'd be out here after practice, and baby coach would say we're not practicing well enough, so we'd stay out here. I'd go up there and shower, and I'd be home at 7 o'clock, 7:30. Everybody else had eaten. She always had my dinner waiting for me. Everybody was coming and going. My other brother at times, if I was playing basketball, he was wrestling. So we always had this flexibility in our lives because of our parents. It allowed us to do these things after school. It wasn't a formal sit-down dinner. We never had that because everybody's always coming and going. And I think the more I look back on that, the more I just respect that, as a parent, to sit there and just be able to say, listen, okay, you got to do this, now you got to get your schoolwork done too, but make sure here's something to eat in between. And I was always trying to eat something in between, so I could never gain weight. So, but she would always have this, whatever it was, there was enough for me to have 2 or 3 servings of whatever dinner was. So this is where I played high school. But I definitely want to take you to where it really all started. It was at the Crafton athletic field. You didn't realize that you thought natural that, okay, there's a few hills in Pittsburgh. But you start thinking about this hill and coming up this hill. And I think I've only walked it once or twice. It's because I think I missed a bus and my dad had already left. So I had to get to school and I had to walk up this hill. And by the time I got here, I said, I'm never going to miss the bus again.
So you had to walk up?
Up, yeah.
And you didn't stop until you went back to school?
I had to go back to school. I had to get to school because I missed the bus.
Lessons learned.
My father had left, and and I couldn't drive. Never missed that bus again, I'm telling you. And this is the field that it started at. It's called the Crafton Athletic Field.
And how old were you here when this all?
I first played midget football. I was 8 years old. 105 weight limit. I never even came close to 105. Come in here, game day, practiced. This was a couple football fields. We played our games right here.
Wow.
Right here. They had stands here. This was more of a football field than it was a baseball field. And yeah, man, this is like, I'll never forget, like we'd practice, like the Mighty Mice would practice back there, the Midgets would be practicing here, which is the bigger team. The Midgets was 125 pound weight class.
Okay.
Mighty Mice were 105.
Did you guys seriously get into hitting back there?
Oh, yeah. No, we really did. We would play, Clarton would come down here, or the Penn Hills Little Indians would come down here on a Saturday night, and they'd start running around the field with us. And they had about 3 times as many kids as we did. And one time, I'll never forget, we got into a scuffle. It was a scuffle because they were chanting. And all the coaches were doing was picking up little kids and putting them in these trash cans. so that you couldn't get out. So you'd sit in the trash can, you can't get out, and they just lined up trash cans so that just to address somebody else. So if somebody was fighting, pick them up, put them in the trash can. And so we got put in the trash can. But I remember that because I remember they were sitting there like, yeah, they're chanting around us. I think it was more probably initiated by the coaches who were bothered by the fact that they were running around us and chanting. And I think one coach said something to another coach, and the next thing you know, one kid sent something to another kid. I don't know. I just got picked up and got put into a trash can. I don't think I did anything particularly wrong. I remember they said, whatever you do, don't take your helmet off. I said, okay, I will not take my helmet off. So I'm sitting in a trash can with my feet, my butt's in this trash can. I can't get out. My helmet's on. I can't get my helmet off. I feel like, hey, don't forget about me. Like when everything's settled down.
Everybody's gone.
Some of us are here still in the can.
Oh my.
Here, I love to play basketball. I told you how much I love basketball. So I'd come down here many, many nights with my basketball, and I'd try to get picked up on a team, or if I did, we'd win some, we'd lose some, but I would dribble all the way down from my house and get right in there where there was 2 basketball courts back to back, and you can see them right over there.
Yeah. Still there.
They're still there. Yeah, and it was serious competition. I mean, there was this. People come from Ingram, they come from the West End. We would get a team of 5 guys, we'd get in one car, and somebody would take us and we'd go travel to somewhere like the West End or go up to Ingram, and we would play like all day long, all night long. I'd be down until the lights came on. And then we'd walk home, and we always stopped at this Dairy Queen up here. And we always got like...
That's still going strong too?
Yeah.
I see the lines out there.
The Dairy Queen is where we used to stop.
Sounds like you enjoyed growing up when you did.
Loved it. You know, Bob, and it's so funny because so much of it was I had to be home by the time it got dark, or if they knew where I was at. And when I left with my basketball, I was probably down here playing at Crafton Ingram basketball courts. On the way back, we'd stop by here at the Dairy Queen. You know, get one of those misty floats and just be careful not to get the brain freeze, which is almost happen like every other time, you know, because you're so thirsty.
You're hot, then it goes...
Hot, then it goes right, everything else. So, yeah, this is right where it was. It's still there. Now it's called the Crafton Ice Cream. It's a Dairy Queen.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to take you into one of the ways from my house. I live right up this way a little bit. So this is my street. We used to play football in between the telephone poles. So that was like one goal line. This was the other goal line.
Your house was
right here. Right here.
This one.
Yeah.
Wow.
And those steps were there. I played baseball on the steps, throwing the ball off there. But we used to play in between the cars. Like if you threw a car's parked, because they weren't parked on the left, you were fine on the left, you could do it. But on the right, as you're playing football, I used to say like, okay, I'm going down, throw it between the white car and the black car. It's just get it there. When I make the break, I'm going between those 2 cars, so they can make sure it's high enough. And then if it was a bad pass and it hit the other car, sometimes the people like, quit playing football, don't quit hitting my car, it's my bad. It's like, it was a bad throw, it wasn't me, it was on him.
It's like getting a baseball in the backyard through somebody's window, and you're, what are you doing?
So I grew up right there, 60
You ever get emotional coming back here?
Man, it's so many great memories, to be honest with you, coming back here. I used to be on the side, and every time I came back, even, that's where my dad told me I made the mistake of starting Neil O'Donnell. Like, why didn't you start Bobby? Right in the same house. I mean, it was back at, and I was the griller. So Billy come back, Billy's gonna grill. Okay, I took care of all the hot dogs and hamburgers. So it was the charcoal, which was always on the side. The kids were out here playing right here. We always cut these hedges. Those hedges right there, my dad, every now, we all took a chance, we all had to take turns to raking up the hedges. So that was like, oh, whose turn is it on this Saturday? So
it's always a lot of hedges, it seems.
Oh, it goes all the way back too. And it goes on both sides.
Yeah.
So then, here's the church.
Okay, so I didn't know there was a church back there.
This is the church my dad taught Sunday school at. And And we'd always come down, and he always teach Sunday school, and he said,
Wow,
you guys do
just right down the block.
totally, right here.
Wow.
And so they said, where do you want to, like, what do you want named? I go, you know what? I remember with my dad, I used to always throw baseball in the back to the alley. And so now it's called Cowher Way.
There it is.
Cowher Way.
You wanted this area to
I
be so
wanted my
special.
alley to be, I wanted the alley, if you want to name something, name the alley. Because you know what? That's where all the dirty work was done. That's where you sat there and there were cinders there and everything else. And I also would run, I'd see that if I saw the bus coming, never go back to the bus, you could pick you up right in front of the church. But if I couldn't get to the church, I missed the bus, I'd cut through the backyard, cut through the alley, and I could catch the bus on the other way because it would go down and all
So
the way
right
come
through
back.
that little alley there.
Yeah, it was a yard, and the people, sometimes I actually was doing it pretty often. The lady would just wave at me because I was. it's like it probably not should be making this the path that it should be on.
Wow. So Cowher Way. This was your choice.
This is it. Yeah, I wanted. And this was all all cinders back there. This wasn't even paved. I think when they paved it when they made it Cowher Way, which kind of takes away the purpose of it being named Cowher Way because it was all about the cinders.
That's right.
Now we're gonna head into Heinz Field.
It's pretty amazing. Kid from Crafton.
Kid from Crafton, and all of a
Grows
sudden,
up, and now he's in Canton, Ohio.
Oh my gosh.
Crafton
It blows my
to
mind.
Canton.
And this is why I love this town. I love just the fact of having grown up here. Right here, with the church right down the way, the football field, Dairy Queen, basketball courts. Here's my first memory as we enter in here, going down the opponent's runway. TJ Hushmanzada probably taking his towel right around this area of the thing. It was right around here. Thank you, TJ. Thank you, TJ. Thank you, TJ.
It's all the motivation they needed
That's all
that
they
day.
needed.
Who dey? We dey? Who dey? We dey? Who dey? We dey?
Did you ever have to tell your guys?
Oh, you tried to. We had, tried like, please, no bulletin board material.
Yeah.
Now, Joey Porter had a hard time at times calling out St. Peyton Manning's finesse and soft. Like, oh, why'd you do that? Not to Peyton Manning. But, so Joey just, he had to be him, which is, and you wanted your guys to kind of come on this field and have a little bit of an edge. And you're the best at what we do. And no one comes into our place here and is going to beat us. So I want a little bit of swagger. So but not to be disrespectful, not to show anybody up, but have a little bounce in your step, a little, chip on your shoulder, and a little swag about you. So, it was, this was the field.
This was the field, and there's so many plays here. Now I can go back in time, but the one that comes to me, I don't know about you, is the Bettis situation with Brian Urlacher.
Oh yeah, well.
That was your catalyst, right, for that whole entire run.
Yeah, we knocked said, listen, 7-5, we just lost 3 in a row. I mean, everybody kind of look in the mirror and grade themselves from the previous week. We came out here against the Chicago Bears. I think they had won 7 in a row.
Right.
And it starts snowing. Wow. It's starting to snow. This is really a good sign. And we came out that game, and he had a couple big runs, and he had great balance. Jerome, the bus was one thing I've never seen a guy. He could jump cut, and he had great balance of his feet.
It's gonna be a long day for somebody. I ain't gonna say who. Y'all figure it out.
On a snowy field, he had great body lean. He was unstoppable. And that big hit took place right over there when he scored that touchdown. But I said that game, and then the next week we had to go to Minnesota.
Right.
And they had won 6 or 7 in a row too.
You couldn't lose the rest of the way.
No. We beat Cleveland. We finished up back here against the Detroit Lions and got in as a 6th seed. And
first time ever.
And the first game that we played was against the Cincinnati Bengals, who was our last loss. TJ.
TJ. You gotta come back to TJ too. Thank you, TJ.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Your best is good enough. You stay focused and you play only one way, and that's physical.
Backs against the wall. No one's giving you a chance. It was, everything that we talked about.
You seem to like that.
Love it.
You like
Love
that
it.
all the time.
I said there's no greater satisfaction in sports than to do something that nobody thinks you can do.
Yeah.
And I just, I go back and stand here and just think about right over there is Crafton. And all we did, we kind of went through the city, but it's just a little bigger field than Honest Wagner. But it's a football field. It's still a football field. Between these white lines, they're all the same dimensions. A little different surrounding. When you step on the field, there's a way with which you do things. And it was fun taking a bunch of men coming together and just love it. Love it.
You're almost like a part psychiatrist here too.
Yes,
You're analyzing your own team and knowing what makes them tick.
Right.
Yeah.
And I wanted every game to be made. I tried to make every game personal. I really did. I think that's the only way you can play the game is prove something. You don't play the game for money. You don't play the game for fame. You play the game to have a brotherhood of people coming together and to accomplish something, have more points in that scoreboard than that other team does at the end of the day. However we get there. I don't care if it's 10-9, I don't care if it's 44-43. We have one more point than they have, and that's the only thing that matters. So you're constantly looking at that, thinking about time left in the clock, thinking about how many possessions they may have, looking at them over there, assessing their demeanors. You can see players. Are all the guys sitting down? Or all the guys, and I look back, most of our guys are standing up, waiting for the next, offense cheering on the defense, defense cheering on the offense. I mean, it's like little things like that.
This place is unbelievably emotional.
You see this place, you get the towels going.
What did that do for you as a coach? That passion, that feeling that you get from the energy of the fans.
And I think when you sit there as a head coach, to me, it's just like, you gotta just, because we're playing at home, you gotta be able to control that, because you can get too amped up, where you start doing things that are not normal. So it's just like, use that, and we'll get the crowd going, but we gotta move on to the next play. Don't get too caught up in it. And so, you go on the road, sometimes you have to create the storm. But a lot of times you have to be the calm in the storm, particularly if you're playing at home.
What's it mean to have the Hall of Honor over there?
Yeah.
Be on that one?
It means a lot. It means a lot. I mean, just coming back here and being here right now, man, I get chill bumps.
Yeah. So now, when you look around here and your career is complete, would you have done anything differently in your career?
No.
You would have ended it when you ended it?
Yeah. Because
that was mostly a family decision, right?
It
at
was.
the time?
It was. I mean, this was a special place for those 8 Sundays that we would have and a couple preseason games. But those 8 Sundays, this place became like a little bit of a sanctuary, almost like going to church in Crafton. I'd come in here, and this was a place that just meant a lot. There's a lot of history here, a lot of responsibility here. Like, you play a certain way and do things a certain way, and people from Pittsburgh all kind of like, we all come together. It's like it's one big family, So I love Pittsburgh fans because they always want to touch you. They always want to do that, touch you in the back, like, good job, coach, good job. I'm like, okay. Like, you don't have to hit me anymore. Like, I'm good. So,
that's the way it is.
That's the way. It's the way. But we are. You are one. I mean, everyone is. And there's almost an obligation. That's like, let's play the game the right way, and let's do it the way we do it in Pittsburgh.
It's pretty unique, isn't it? Around the league?
It is. I mean, this place, it's a hard place to play. When these fans get going, and the team will feed off of that, and it's just. I don't know, for those 3 hours on Sunday that you're out here, or Monday night or Sunday night, it's a pretty special place. I don't think any better place in the United States to be able to play football than to be in this arena on this field.
Coach, I want to thank you for all you've done for the game, for all you're going to do for the game. And I want to welcome you to Canton, Ohio, where your bronze medal, your legacy is going to live forever. Congratulations, Coach.
So we've covered a lot of ground here with your past. It all leads to here, and now it leads to the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
First thing you think about, and for me, was the people that weren't there. The first thing, my parents, Kay, Dan Rooney, Marty. I'm like, oh, they would be so proud. You know, you grow up here, you know, just to have a chance to come back here. To be able to hand Dan Rooney that trophy, that one for the thumb that we've been missing for so long.
Mr. Rooney, this is yours, man.
That was all I really, that's it. I had great peace with myself, being able to walk away. But then all of a sudden you come back and this happens, you know, how many years, 14 years later, you're going into the Hall of Fame. And it's hard to put into words. It's so humbling. And then you see the other people that are in there. And you realize just, man, a game I loved, a game that started in Crafton, with the Crafton Little Cougars, the Carlington, the NC State, the playing for the Browns and the Eagles, getting a chance to coach. And just having it all culminate and to go to Canton in August. Yeah, there was a lot of people along the way, and so many, from the parents, to every coach that coached with me, to every player that played with and for me. It'll be a special night. Bottom line, it goes back to family. Family's everything. We can all talk about football, we talk about faith, but it's about family. And I was blessed to be with the best family in football, the Rooney family and the Pittsburgh Steelers.